Welcome to Weather HQ. I'm Paolo del Rosario. This week, we're diving into stories that show how science, sustainability, and smart policy are shaping our communities. The Camiguin solar project is setting a new benchmark for clean energy in island grids. The PNRI and the IAEA's push for science-driven solutions against the country's plastic waste problem, and the DENR NCR's call for a safer, more environmentally mindful Christmas season. Let's begin with a breakthrough in renewable energy. To understand why the Camiguin solar power project is being recognized as a model for helping small islands shift from diesel to clean, reliable power, and how this initiative could transform energy access in remote communities, here's my interview with two key leaders of Camiguin Incorporated, Project Development Head Mr. Cesar Carrion and Treasurer Mr. Fermin Alvarez.
LTO is a new commercial way of entering into an agreement with electric cooperatives, mostly on areas who tend to not attract private investment. EDF means Embedded Generation Facility, meaning that we are creating a facility of renewable power within the grid of a local grid. And LTO stands for Lease to Own. Basically, what we are working on is we produce and we construct an asset that we run for a certain period of years that allow us to recover our investment. But after that period, the asset that we have constructed, including the land and all the interconnection assets, pass to be an asset of the electric cooperative, becoming de facto almost a very low cost supply of power of green energy for the cooperative that we have decided to invest. And this is very new. We are the first developers to come to construction, and we will be in full injecting our power by the first quarter of 2026. And that's what is remarkable about our project, that we've been able to push out all the electrical cooperatives and all the energy sector within the government to really pull out a different model to engage with these kind of communities.
Mr. Cesar, let's take a look at the fact that this has been a 5-year preparation period, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to this project in particular. When you talk about the challenges that you have to overcome, considering that it is a relatively new model that you are approaching with the EGF LTO instead of a conventional PPA, what were the challenges? And of course, why did you even choose this model over the convention, which is the PPA?
Well, good morning to everyone. Thanks for your question. Yeah, you're right. It's been a pretty long time, more than 5 years. As you can imagine, there's a lot of challenges that happens in that time, but really one of the main challenges and one of the first challenges that we had to overcome was the fact that this EGF model was so new. So we had rules for it, yes, we had a definition for it, but in practice, no one really knew what to do. No one really knew how to get it formed. And the beginning, everyone was telling us to do a PPA model instead. Like, no, let's do the regular, go PPA, don't do this. But no, we really chose the EGF model because, first of all, we truly believe that it's the solution for out-of-grid islands, much like Kamiguin is, especially much smaller islands. And also, it gives back to the people. In the end of the day, we don't end up owning the plant that we made. We give it back to the people, to the province or the area.
Mr. Fermin, we also have to talk about the financial viability of this because it is a business, and of course you did mention about the ownership a while ago. Just how financially viable is this with the new model, and of course with the plans here when it comes to this solar facility, considering this is the first that we're seeing in a small island grid?
Well, that's the interesting thing because my colleague Cesar point out, how interesting this kind of project is for a small electrical cooperative that maybe struggles to find finance for renewable energy. But the truth is that this model introduced a very interesting business model for investors in the renewable energy, which high profit and also with rates that are usually above the ones we are able to secure under PPA, because the treatment of the rate that we are being repaid is not treated as a cost, it's treated as a recovery cost for the EC, and therefore the ERC, the electrical commission for that regulates the pricing, takes in a much more gentle manner our prices, and therefore the return of our investment is shorter, and also on our project IRR that it's quite in the high end compared with other elements. It's true that we are kind of capitalized on a recurrent basis as the regular PPAs, because after the period of the PPA, we will have the ability to renew it.
Yeah.
It's more a one-shot business model, but it's quite advantageous also for private investors like us to really invest.
Mr. Cesar, when we talk about the location, of course, it's called Camiguin because it is in Camiguin. And when we talk about the choice of location, the fact that you're focusing on a small island grid, what was the thinking behind it, especially using Camiguin as your pilot destination when it comes to this particular project?
Well, one of the main reasons for selecting Camiguin really was just our love for the island. For many years, my family, Fermin also as well, has been on the island doing a lot of local projects to help students and all of this. And Camiguin is just an island we fell in love with. And we realized while we were there, in all the years we had been spending there, we realized that the stability of the grid of Camiguin is totally shot. It's not reliable at times. There are times when, I don't know, a few years ago at least, there were times when the brownouts would last a couple of days or a few days. And that's one of the problems we set out to fix, which is why we decided on this project. Camiguin was a no-brainer for us. Apart from that, we also have incredible support from the local government of Camiguin, really. They did so many steps to help make this project a possibility.
Mr. Cesar, when can the residents of Camiguin actually feel the effects of this particular project? And of course, just what concrete numbers can we actually show that it is going to improve the current grid right now in Camiguin?
Well, the first really concrete number that I would say that we should observe is the fact that we will be fixing the systems loss problem we have, because right now, I'm not sure if everyone is aware, right now Camiguin is 60% reliant on energy that comes through a submarine cable from the mainland of Mindanao. Now, since this energy source, this is the substation for that energy source, is so far, we have around 20% of systems losses as it travels through the line and through the submarine cable into Camiguin. That's the reason that our grid in Camiguin is so unstable right now, because we're depending on an energy source that's so far from the island that by the time the energy gets to us, we're only able to utilize 40% of it.
Well, you identified the problem there and, of course, what you're trying to address. Cesar, Fermin, I wish we had more time to talk because I still have so many more questions, especially when it comes to the specifics of your project. But at the moment, it's all the time we had. For those who are wondering where they can learn more about this project, where can they do so?
Well, they can contact us directly on Freya's web. Freya is the main developer who's been pursuing, together with the assistance of NEA and the DOE, this project for all these years. And also we are big developers. We handle currently more than 1.6 gigas of large projects for international developers. But this is a project of our own that we have decided to invest, and we are so proud that we are able to come to conclusion very next year.
When we return, I'll share my conversation with Dr. Jordan Madrid at the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute as he breaks down how nuclear science is playing a surprising role in the fight against plastics pollution. Don't go away. Weather HQ will be right back. You're still here watching Weather HQ. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is urging stronger science-driven action against the growing threat of plastic pollution, a key point raised at the recent IAEA high-level forum in Manila. The DOST Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, in partnership with the IAEA through the New Tech Plastics, is now using nuclear and radiation technologies to improve the country's plastic waste management. To see how these innovations can help the Philippines, watch this.
When we usually do this dissemination activities to the public, the usual question that we got is, if you're using nuclear or radiation technologies in your projects or in your activities, are the end products safe? So what we are offering at PNRI are nuclear radiation science technologies and innovation that produces products which are non-radioactive. Meaning, if we treat these materials with radiation, they themselves do not become radioactive. It's just like getting an X-ray. Hindi naman tayo nagiging radioactive after we expose ourselves to X-rays. And in the context of plastic pollution, nuclear and radiation science and technology is offering an alternative methodology, an alternative procedure wherein we can upcycle plastic wastes, turning them into useful products. Like in our project, we aim to convert them into construction materials without using chemical additives and without using high temperature catalysts. So we are providing an alternative pathway which is relatively greener compared to other conventional methodologies.
I think one of the key terms you use there is upcycling instead of this, accelerating yung decomposition or even recycling. Let's talk about new tech plastics as well, because this is the term used for your efforts here. What is new tech plastics and why is it important, or how will it address yung mga waste problems po natin?
Right. So the Philippines, being a member state of the United Nations, we are also part of the International Atomic Energy Agency as a member state. And the New Tech Plastics Initiative is actually an IAEA's flagship initiative to address the global challenges of plastic pollution. Of course, it promotes the use of nuclear science and technology to also contribute to solving the plastic pollution problem globally. So the nuclear science and technology, the new tech plastics, it has two components. We have the upstream and the downstream. And my team at the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, we are basically involved in the upstream component, wherein we are using radiation science and technology so that we can, for treating existing plastic wastes and render them fit for reuse. And what we are basically doing is extending their current recycling potential, and we are giving them higher value reuse.
So you mentioned the capacity to reuse it and of course upcycling a while ago. When we take a look at yung radiation technologies na to and its practicality, especially when it comes to future use for any industrial or maybe home use, just what are the practical uses of this particular technology, and what concrete solutions can we see being derived from the nuclear radiation?
Yeah, in the context of radiation science and technology for plastic, for mitigating plastic pollution, yung nabanggit ko nga kanina, we can use this technology as an alternative technology to the conventional procedure of like recycling, wherein, because as we all know, when we use recycled plastic wastes, their mechanical properties, most of the time, if not all of the time, are inferior compared to those of virgin materials.
Yes.
So what the industry is doing, if they are going to use recycled materials, they are adding chemical additives to enhance the properties. But at Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, we use, our team uses radiation technology, so we do away with the chemical additives, and we still get the same enhancement in the mechanical properties. And that is what we are offering. And actually, we are partnering with a private company, Envirotech Waste Recycling Incorporated, wherein we are turning these plastic scraps into building construction materials, housing construction materials.
So, just for clarity's sake, and just to re-emphasize it, your methods are not necessarily trying to accelerate its decomposition, but rather strengthening the material again for reuse in other efforts such as construction material. Is that a correct interpretation?
Tama yun, Paolo. Because if we look at plastics, okay, most people, kapag nagamit na nila yung plastics, they throw them away.
Yeah.
They treat them as trash, as scraps. But my team at PNRI, at the OST, we're looking at them as a possible feedstock, as a resource. Because these plastics, they're made of polymers, they're made of materials, and actually we are using these materials because of the convenience that they gave to us of using them. And so, rather than throwing them away, we're looking at them, okay, how can we re-engineer the plastic so that it can still be used, we can prolong its lifetime, therefore maximizing the economic potential of this material, because instead of like extracting oil and they're turning them into virgin resins, if we can use this recycled plastic waste, as their feedstock, I think that has a very significant economic impact.
Doc, can you tell us a bit more about the volume of plastic waste and how quickly or what the process is like converting it into more reusable material? Let's say for construction, as you mentioned a while ago. What's the process like and how much volume are we actually talking about?
Okay. In the previous study supported by the Philippine government and the World Bank Group, I think that this was 2019, around 2.7 million metric tons of plastic waste are like produced by the Filipinos annually.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we're not solving the whole plastic problem. Just like what I mentioned, we are contributing. Kasi this is a very big problem. And the solution is if we can get the contributions from the different sectors, from the various sectors, to contribute and help solve this problem, I think that would be the ideal situation.
Of course.
So in our case, we are dealing with, or we are trying to recycle, we are using as feedstock the plastic waste, which are known as the soft plastics, and also those which are being used as rigid plastics, as containers, for example, of soap and shampoos. So, yung mga plastics na yon, sila yung kinokolekta ng aming private company counterpart at base in Davao, and then we convert them. We shred them, and then portion of the plastics we irradiate at PNRI using the electron beam facility at the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute. Then the irradiated and the plastic scraps which are not irradiated, we basically blend them, melt them, and then convert them into different shapes depending on the target application. So as per the volume, I think, for example, yung aming tinatayong bahay ngayon sa Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, which is a prototype house that demonstrates the feasibility of using this plastics product or this construction materials made from plastic wastes. I think, if I'm not mistaken, around 3 to 4 or more than 4 tons of plastic waste being incorporated in the house.
Okay. Well, I wish we had more data on yung strength nito when it comes to it being. Do we have the data on that as a construction material?
Yes. Paano ba? Kasi as a researcher, of course, we are mainly focused on the science part of the project.
Yes.
However, during the application portion, we discussed this with our colleagues from DPWH. So we had a meeting with them, I think, just this year. And when we discussed them and showed them our figures, our results, they mentioned to us that the product is indeed strong, that we might consider going into structural applications.
And speaking of protecting our environment, after the break, a DENR expert explains how holiday lights and decorations, when placed on trees, can cause hidden damage and put communities at risk. Stay with us. Weather HQ will return shortly. Welcome Welcome back to Weather HQ. As we fully embrace the Christmas season, the DENR NCR is reminding the public to celebrate responsibly, especially when it comes to our urban trees. The agency warns that hanging lights, wires, and decorations on trees can cause accidents, electrical hazards, and even long-term damage to our green spaces. To help us understand the risks and how we can help both the holidays and our trees keep safe, well, watch my interview with Mr. Arturo Calderon, a registered professional forester and chief of the Production Forest Management Section at the DENR NCR.
Alam naman natin, no, yung papalapit na Christmas season, marami sa ating mga kababayan na naglalagay ng mga Christmas lights sa mga trees, no? Nakikita natin 'yan usually sa mga posts ng mga sa online media. And yung mga nilalagay nila yung mga trees sa mga parks, sa mga public places. Ang concern lang ng DNR dito is this Christmas light may cause damage sa ating mga puno. Maaring ito ay magkaroon ng mga mag-spark, magkaroon ng sudden fire, that magkaroon ng madidisplace yung ating mga wildlife and mga insects na nakatira dun sa ating mga puno. Kaya ang itong advisory na to ay nilabas ng DNR to warn our public.
So a clarification here, it is not you are against yung mga Christmas trees or yung concept ng Christmas trees, but rather actual lights on actual trees. So yung mga plastic na nakita natin or yung mga light installations in public places, okay lang yan in comparison to actual lights on trees. Tama po ba yan?
Yes sir, opo. So hindi naman natin pinaprohibit yung paglalagay ng Christmas light, but siguro gumamit lang tayo ng mga eco-friendly na lights, lighting materials like yung mga LED na hindi masyadong nag-i-emit ng heat, no? Kasi yun yung nagiging problema eh. And the use of substandard na mga lighting, no? Kalimitan natin, nakikita natin sa mga Christmas trees. Minsan bigla na lang silang nagliliyab because of excessive and overload ng mga Christmas lights, no? Paggamit ng mga substandard. So dapat gumamit tayo ng may mga ICC marks and dumaan sa mga quality standards.
Well, na-mention nyo nga po that it has to be LED strips on the actual trees. We actually showed footage from the Quezon City lighting wherein there are lights attached to the trees pero mga LED strips po yung gamit. When we talk about what actually is the difference between yung mga LED strips compared to siguro yung mas traditional na lighting na ginagamit sa mga Christmas tree or mga decor sa bahay, what are the biggest differences? And of course, why is yung heat emitted a big factor when it comes to yung considerations po of placing decors on greenery?
Well, of course, yung pag gumamit tayo ng mga conventional na mga lighting materials, no, nag-i-emit kasi sila ng heat, and once na yan ay sobra na yung paggamit niya, yung mga surrounding areas na dry, no, usually yun yung mga kumbaga nauunang nasisilap, nagliliyab, no, nagkakos ng fire. While the use of LED, yung LED kasi hindi siya nag-i-emit ng heat, no. So yun pwede natin gamitin sa mga decorations.
Well, as we see there, yung mas close-up na footage and photos from the Quezon City government, again, of LED strips being used on these trees, on these particular plants. Sir, are there any long-term effects if we repeatedly wrap or puncture with yung mga wires and decor yung greenery po natin dito sa Metro Manila?
Yes, magkakaroon ng long-term effect yan, no? Particularly sa pagsimula pala ng paglalagay ng mga Christmas decors, no? Usually they put nails.
Yeah, pinapako.
Pinapakuan nila yung mga puno, no? Para din yan nung during election na we prohibit the use of yung mga campaign materials sa mga puno kasi it will cause damage, no?
Yeah.
Ito yung mga pinagmumulaan ng decay ng mga puno. So ito yung magiging avenue for microorganisms para ma-attack yung ating mga puno. Then it will become, sooner magkakaroon sila ng decay at eventually magkakaroon ng permanent damage sa ating mga trees.
Well, sir, we all know that, aminan na natin, dito sa NCR, it's a bit of a difficult situation keeping our natural friends, or rather our animal friends, including the birds and insects, thriving here dito sa NCR. And Christmas ornaments could actually make it a bit more difficult for them to survive and thrive during this holiday season. How does the ornaments, yung Christmas lights natin, actually disrupt yung behavior nila here in our urban wildlife?
Well, alam naman natin yung mga puno, it's the home of our wildlife and insects, no. So pagka nilagyan natin sila ng mga excessive na lighting, madidisturb yung kanilang bahay. So ang mangyayari nan, umaalis yung ating mga wildlife and insects. And as we all know, ito yung mga wildlife and insects, they are the natural pollinator, agent of pollination, no? So sila nagpaparami ng mga halaman sa atin. So kung madi-display sila, magkakaroon ng effect yung ating ecology, no? So
Sir, so let's now we talked about everything na bawal. But if you're going to give suggestions to celebrate the holiday spirit with being safe around yung mga puno dito sa NCR, and of course the outside establishments that have trees to work with in terms of yung mga spaces nila, how would you suggest that they design their Christmas decor in an eco-friendly manner?
well, meron naman tayong mga mga alternative pagdating sa pag-celebrate ng ating ng mga Christmas and pagde-decorate, no. We can use green-centric decorations. So pwedeng the use of plants sa pag-decorate, no, yung mga vertical gardens natin, pwede natin silang i-design into a Christmas tree, di ba? Pwede yun. And use paggamit ng mga topiary o yung mga other plants na it will enhance the beauty, no, ng ating surroundings, no. And of course, kung talagang hindi na natin maiwasan paggamit ng Christmas lights sa mga puno, use yung mga LED and do not overload yung ating mga trees na from base up to the tip, punong-puno talaga ng ilaw.
Yeah. And I feel that the DENR NCR's initiative of quote, nurturing cities for a sustainable future, talagang china-challenge kapag Christmas season. Considering ang haba po ng Christmas season natin, I believe September, may mga iba't ibang lugar, may mga dekor na sa labas, sa mga puno. How can we ensure that we develop a more siguro sustainable culture of Christmas decor, considering yung initiative po ninyo of nurturing cities for a sustainable future?
Well, part of our sustainable strategy is keeping our environment healthy, and this includes caring for our trees and maintaining them healthy, no. So alam naman natin yung mga benefits ng ating mga puno, no. They absorb or sequester carbon, they reduces tong ating tinatawag na heat island effects, and it cools our surroundings. Ngayon, sa DENR NCR, we try to help, no, itong mga LGUs natin, local government agencies, on maintaining yung ating mga forestries, kasi bibihira na rin kasi kokonti na lang talaga yung mga trees natin dito sa NCR, kaya we try to help them create a plan, a greening plan para for their future, no, para mag-increase din yung kanilang mga green spaces within their locality.
And that's a wrap on this week's episode of Weather HQ. From renewable energy to nuclear solutions to protecting our environment right in our own neighborhoods. Thank you for joining us. I'm Paolo del Rosario. See you again next week, only here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.